Welcome to the Nate and Dorin podcast. We are professional videographers based in Vancouver, Canada, and we're here to talk about relevant topics within the video and media industry. I'm Nate, and I run Nate Dixon Media.
And I am Dorin, the videographer, freelance entrepreneur offering video production services. And today we have a special guest, Victor Dinca, marketing coordinator at a tour operator and aspiring entrepreneur in the process of starting his own business. Together, we are going to explore today how to get your services noticed by clients. But before we get into our main topic, Victor, please introduce yourself, give us background knowledge on how you got into marketing, how we know each other, although we've mentioned it briefly too. Give us your your angle, and can you please explain what is a tour operator? Because I don't know.
Thanks, Dorin. I'm really happy to be here, and thank you again for inviting me on your show. So basically, Nate I met in the new media program at BCIT, and Dorin, we're related, so we're cousins.
Yeah, I've known you ever since I came to Canada.
But I've worked with both of you guys for a nonprofit, and yeah, basically the new media program that all three of us have done different years, but me and
you and Nate did the same year. I did the year before that. Yeah,
exactly. And me and Nate did a couple projects together too for the new media class. But yeah, that's how it all started.
Yeah, we reviewed one of them in episode 2, so check out episode 2 to see our blast from the past.
Should. But yeah, just a bit of background info for me. So I did the new media program at BCIT, and then a couple of years after, I did the marketing management program as well. And then basically what I've done in video is work for 2 years as a videographer. And then I worked 1 year as a graphic designer. And then after that, I went back to school to do the marketing program at BCIT, and just because I really wanted to get into marketing, and at the same time I didn't want to kind of go away from what I learned in video and graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to put that business aspect and video and graphic design aspect together. So that's why I went into marketing. And then right after I finished the program at BCIT, I did my internship or practicum, as you may call it, with the current company I'm with right now. And I just stayed on. They hired me after, and I've been working there for over 3.5 years.
Nice.
So yeah, they're a tour operator. So kind of that's the question, what is a tour operator? So we're not a travel agency. We work with travel agencies, but we contract a bunch of different products. If you look at different experiences in Canada, and then Alaska, and then now also in South Pacific, but we contracted with a bunch of other tour, can't say operators, but tour guides and all that, we do, and we provide experiences and we tailor them. So if a client is looking for a certain experience with a bunch of different trips in different provinces, we put that together. We create an itinerary for them, customized on their tastes and their time that they have available. So that is what a tour operator is.
Okay, so it's kind of like an event planner, but for a trip or a vacation.
Yeah, exactly. So we also bundle a bunch of experiences together, and we try to make it happen as long as it is realistic. And obviously the route is able, you have an able route, right? So that can be done in the amount of days you have available. But yeah, pretty much it.
All right, awesome.
Cool. So let's get to the main topic, Victor, which is kind of in your wheelhouse. We want to talk about, like the title says, marketing, online presence as a videographer, and then just in general. So we want to We want to ask you some questions about brand or business identity, your portfolio, your work samples, how important that is, and just general advertising tips, tricks, pitfalls. Dorin and I, yeah, we're here to learn. We can
Mhm.
share our experiences and what we've encountered, but we want to learn from Victor Dinca, the guru.
I don't know if I wouldn't say guru. I mean, I'm no Gary Vee, but
Well, compared to us, infinitely more knowledgeable on this topic. And actually, I wanted to ask, because in the introduction, it says you're aspiring entrepreneur in the process of starting your own business. Can you briefly touch on that?
So basically, what that means is I want to start my own marketing agency. So providing marketing services, and basically it would be called Victor D Media. But
Hmm.
yeah, I am in the process of starting my own business slowly. I know I'm still working at my full-time job, but yeah, that's something that I am aspiring to to strive for in this year. So
Basically, we're gonna have kind of three perspectives on the show today. What would you recommend for a videographer? What our experience has been, um, actually, four visions. What your company is currently doing, and what you would do for when you're starting your business. We got lots to
That's
cover.
4D chess. I'm confused already.
Well, you can rewatch the podcast to figure it out.
Multiple timelines. It's like Tenet or something here.
Well, hey,
multiverses.
yeah, Marvel Universe. Um, so, yeah, Nate, what would be the first talking point you would want to go with?
Well, Victor, I want you to tell us about brand identity. So maybe, what goes into a name? What's your logo? Why don't you take us through the journey of the bullet points of what you think of when you think brand identity for a potential client of yours?
I think that's a great way to start. I mean, I think for just like establish your brand identity, I think that should be like the first kind of step for a business. Definitely, name and logo are important. As like brand identity, it helps you to differentiate your business from like your competition and to kind of like just put your position, your brand how you want it to, and like in the market. It's really important to develop like a professional and creative identity, something that's more unique compared to what's out there already. And to do that, like you need to establish like something that grabs people's attention. So at the same time, don't go too like crazy off the rails with how your branding is, but something that's like appropriate to like what your consumer, what you want to sell. Like you have to see exactly what your business or like company values are and try to incorporate that in your brand. You want to build something that brings loyalty and trust with your clients or users, something that separates you from your competition. You don't want to copy your competition in terms of branding. Definitely not, because people can just be like, oh, isn't that like maybe a knockoff of that guy or of that company? So you don't want to be that guy.
So like
Um,
an example of that would be if you know somebody's called Vancouver Wedding Films, don't just copy that and be like British Columbia Wedding Films, because that's very generic. Is that kind of what you mean?
yeah, I mean,
Or
I
how
guess,
about you take us a little bit through the decision process that you came up with your business name? So why did you choose Victor D Media? What was the thought process in
well,
creating that brand identity?
okay, it's more it's personal. I mean, well, personable. Sorry, not personal because it sounds like something that I can't talk about that deeply affected me or something. But
My business is my business.
I can't talk to you about okay, no, but it's something that it relates to me. It because I'm thinking of starting it as just myself, as me being the only person that is through the company. It has a nice ring to it. And to be honest, I mean, I was inspired of the name of watching Gary Vee. Like his company is Gary Vee Media. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of Gary Vee, but I listen to a lot of his podcasts, and He's a great marketing guru to like follow on like LinkedIn or YouTube, Facebook. Definitely recommend. But that's kind of it got me inspired, and I wanted to have like my name in the branding.
Mm.
At the same time, I was thinking when I was making that, like there could be negatives to that. I mean, if eventually if I want to create like maybe a bigger business, it could, maybe somebody doesn't want to work for a company that has like someone's name in it, or you never know. But that's like something that I liked, like the name just having my name in it, and it had a nice ring to it. So that's what I went with it. But
Mhm.
in terms of branding, I mean, especially for like a videographer, like for logo design, kind of the general rules for like logo design. Doesn't matter what business you're in, but kind of finding that like the typography you want for that, like the font you want, the style you want, not to make it too complex, like not to have too many elements in the logo, something that's like clean and that's easily like readable. Because also you're thinking about different like sizes, like for social media, maybe like for Instagram, the icons are smaller for your like your profile image. You have something that you need a logo that's visible like at any type of size. And if you're thinking of doing something for print, or it should be really visible and identifiable. So that's, I think it's important for a logo to have that. And also, this is something we learned in the new media class. I don't know if you guys remember, but to not have a gradient in the logo.
I do remember that.
So I know gradients are cool, and some people are like, "Oh, gradients are so cool; they look so cool." But no, it's a big no-no for logos. I would not recommend having a gradient for logo. Um, Definitely not. But yeah, I think once you have your brand identity, and basically along with your values and what you want to target, because it's basically like if you want to target more professionals, like businesses, then you got to have a logo that's like clean and like professional and to cater to that. If you have something that's really wacky, like you have like some crazy font like schoolboy, like that kind of font, that's like maybe you're targeting like, maybe that's cool for like really young or like kids, if you're targeting that, but it wouldn't work for a more professional like business if you're thinking like corporate videos or something like that. I don't know if they would take you seriously with something wacky like that, but yeah, something classy, keep it simple, silly, kiss that we learned.
So
But
basically, all of these aspects are important, and people should consider them, like
yeah,
your font style, your even your logo shape, and its compatibility with social media. All of these things will eventually be a factor in how your online presence is perceived.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be too complex. Like your logo basically is kind of, in a way, you're the face of your company too, because it's
Mhm.
always in front. You're putting that image in front of your users, in front of your potential clients, right? So you want to make your business memorable through your logo. I mean, you look at brands like McDonald's, Apple, Nike, like Apple and Nike, that they're simplistic logos. If you look at it, it's like a swoosh, right? It's black. Um, or whatever, white, but in the different colors. But it's so simple, right? Yet it's so iconic and so memorable. So that's why something, even it could be with like font. You don't have to put like images or that. Even working with font, you can manipulate a really nice logo like that. So
Mhm.
that's memorable. But I think that's important, and doing a lot of research. I mean, you look in the industry you're doing like business in, seeing what competitors are doing, and just kind of, just so you're unique from them. And also, as well as you're portraying your business values too, like you're not right like doing a logo that basically you don't like believe in, or it doesn't like follow your beliefs, or I like your, sorry, like professional beliefs, not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Okay.
okay.
So should be something kind of from the get-go,
Mhm. Yeah,
right?
for
It's
sure.
awkward to reach out to a client and do it in your like legal name and not a business name, and not have a logo, because yeah, that's already setting off a different
Yeah.
impression. 'Cause I've seen a lot of people that encourage freelancers or entrepreneurs, like, oh, just start it and you'll pick it up as you go. But it's like, okay, but you'll have some regrets of like, why did nobody tell me that, or why didn't I think of looking for tips and tricks at the beginning? I feel like we're all kind of in agreement that this is stuff that you should think about at the beginning.
Exactly. Yeah, you should. Like when you start a business, you definitely need to have your brand identity, because if you don't have an identity, then you can't go. It's like in real life, right? If you don't have an ID, you can't really do stuff because nobody knows who you are, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
People got to know who
can't
you
buy a
are
car,
first
can't cross
before
the
they go.
border.
Yeah,
Yeah.
before you go into business with somebody, they got to know who you are, and the logo is like a great place or a great way to like put that image in their head, right? So,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, like it's a whole process to like design your logo. Like basically, like kind of like step one is like constructing like a creative design and maybe like a brief around your company and like your company message, and basically start off with that and then try to incorporate that in a logo design. And like I said, like research your competitors and also your target audience. Like, what do you want to target? Do you want to target professionals? Then you know
Hmm.
kind of like what type of logo and like design you need to do that. And then obviously it's like sketching. I mean, not all of us are good at drawing and stuff, but
Yep.
at least maybe in Illustrator. I know I'm not like Illustrator. I can do that, like, but not like drawing. But definitely, and then having various concepts. I mean, I always even when I do work at my company and we got to do like design work or something like that, I always do like a bunch of different concepts and give them a bunch of concepts to look at. So I think you can do that for yourself too. You look at different concepts, and who knows, maybe you want to blend one of the like a few elements in one concept with another from another one, and then just to make one. So
Hmm.
I think uh, that's important. And yeah, to develop a brand style guide. I mean, this is like basic stuff that we learned in new media, having kind of like the color codes. Seeing what colors we want in our logo, putting the codes out, it helps a lot. I know even in our company, I created a style guide for the logos we use and all the branding we use, because it's important. Like we use our branding in so many things, and as a business, you use your branding on everything that's marketing based, like through like email marketing, whatever, any ads you put out there. To create them, you're gonna need to know the exact colors. You don't want to have some ads or some marketing that has slightly different colors in your branding than from other ones. If like the logo is the same, so just to like narrow that down and just play around with it. It's a lot of like just playing around and experimenting, but once you get it established, then you can just really move forward and kind of put it out there.
Hmm. And that logo and those colors would be heavily featured on any sort of portfolio or website, any like digital storefront or whatever to showcase your work. Um, why don't you talk to us more about having a demo reel for us
Mhm.
videographers, or having completed projects to have like on on show, like on the webs on the internet, I guess.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
You have like your brand identity and you reach out to the client. So how do you hook them?
So I think both demo reels and completed projects are important. And the way I see it is like in business, you have that elevator pitch, which is just 2 minutes to sell a client on whatever product or service. Through a demo reel, I see that as a visual elevator pitch. Like you would put your top projects or your top work in there in that video reel, make a maybe 1 or 2 minute reel that showcases what projects you've done that you're really proud about, that have basically the ones that will kind of sell the client on. So I think it's important to have a demo reel. Maybe some people are say like whatever that they're outdated, but I think they're really important, especially if maybe clients don't have a lot of time for you to sell them on something. So like I said, like a 1 to 2 minute thing, and that could really get them hooked. Obviously, completed projects are really good. I mean, definitely to showcase your clients what you've worked on and what you've done on in the past is really good to show and to have that on your website as well. I mean, if a client is thinking about doing services or like video services or media services, whatever is needed or whatever they want to go through your like your portfolio and see like,
Mm.
okay, this done weddings. Okay, if they're looking for a wedding videographer or photographer, they can see like what you've done for that and all of your experience in that. I think that's really important to showcase that. uh,
Got a quick
mhm,
question there,
mhm.
Victor. Do you think it's more beneficial to have that all in one place and say, I do weddings, I do dance recitals, whatever? Or do you think it's better to have like mini sites that are like kind of a vertical slice of here's my wedding website and then your dance recital website or whatever, so that when you're reaching out to these clients, it feels more personalized for them instead of like here's my, because there's probably pros and cons to both. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's like a necessity to have a website. So, especially for online presence and like SEO work that we'll touch on later in this episode. But definitely, you want to have a website because that builds your online presence. I can see like portfolio, and that would be really good to send to clients. Like if a client's looking for weddings, right? Like a wedding, or you send him like your wedding portfolio, and I think that's really good. But I think you should have a website. Like it's a must. It's really important to have a website for portfolio. I think it's important to have that too, but I think like if you have all your work on your website and you just link the person to your website and to like the page that they're interested in, like weddings, I think you could just have it like that too, and you don't need to really have a portfolio. But I think like a portfolio, especially like offline portfolio, are good if you're meeting with a client face to face. Perhaps you just show them like the portfolio maybe on like an iPad or laptop or something just really quickly. It's something you could send to them really quickly and they can access like on their mobile device, on their tablet. Like in the world that we live in now with like technology, it's not necessarily just sitting at home on a desktop and looking at somebody's work, right? You want to have it on the go and everywhere. So I think both are good to have, but I would say website is the most important, and it's like a must for anybody that wants to have an online presence. Definitely. And definitely for like the video like industry, I couldn't agree more that you need one.
Hmm. Yeah, I can say from my experience, I've had clients ask me for either or. So some clients will say, "Do you have a demo reel?" Um, because they're just interested in the overall quality that I have to offer. But some
Mhm.
clients, including I had a meeting today actually, and they looked at my website. We had a Zoom call and we were discussing what services I offer. They looked at my website and they said, "Oh, so this is the stuff you do. This is the video banner. This is your highlight." Yeah, but that shows the really cinematic and really dynamic, really flashy stuff, but they were interested in just in corporate talking head videos. So they ended up asking me like, could you send us completed projects with interviews so we can
Mhm.
hear audio quality because the video banner doesn't have that, or it would have music. Um, or my video banner doesn't display, for example, text or animation or graphics because that's not my
Mm,
forte. And those are like basic. You wouldn't include that in your best demo reel. But I had a client that's like, "Can you do this stuff? Show me a finished project." Um, so I kind of think, like you said, you should have an offline portfolio to showcase both. Um, it'll just increase your chances of
Yeah.
convincing the client like, oh, you don't want to see my everything I do. You want to see specifically this? Okay, I have this for you.
Mhm.
And actually, that's kind of a reason why a year ago I went from having everything on my front page and a demo reel with everything to segmenting stuff. Because I realized like the wedding person, they're not gonna sit through my whole 2 minute demo reel until it gets to the wedding part at 40 seconds.
Mm,
Um, and I have to say, starting off my business at the beginning, I didn't have an online presence. I had my website for a long time, but I didn't populate
Mhm.
it to make it like brand identity.
Yeah.
And after 2 years, it finally my website finally got to the point where I was getting clients reaching out to me through my website. Up until then, I had to like search for them and network and
Mhm.
communicate and apply for gigs, Craigslist or whatever. So from my own personal experience, I can agree with everything you're saying. Like it makes sense logically, and I've seen it work.
Definitely.
Um, yeah, Nate, how's your
okay.
website experience been?
Um, yeah, I've kind of revamped my website in December,
Mm-hmm.
and right now it's kind of all in one. The pro that I like is I can show like the big list of all the clients that I've worked with,
Mhm.
and I feel that builds more trust when they can see, oh, they've worked with all these companies. Maybe they've heard of some of them. But the downside is it becomes more generic. And if I'm just trying to target a certain niche, like SMBs or schools,
Mhm.
then I'm thinking of creating mini sites that just show the work related to that. So I can send them that link. They see that I'm a specialist in that niche,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "Oh, this is this guy's bread and butter. This is his wheelhouse. I want to hire
Mhm.
this guy because this is like what he focuses
Yeah.
on." He's not. They're not thinking, "Oh, this guy does weddings and funerals and all this other stuff." Like a jack of all trades isn't necessarily what a company might be looking for. They
Mhm.
want to be like, "Have you done what I'm looking for already? Show me an example of what you've done that you know you can repeat with me with the
Mhm.
same or better results."
Right.
Um, yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now is figuring out what different niches I'd want to target with different parts of my website or just build
Mhm.
entirely different websites. At a company I worked for a couple years in the marketing department, the website social media guy there, he would build these micro sites, and they were all targeted towards specifically towards the locations that he was advertising in. So, for example, it'd be like vancouversbestroof.com, and that would be the landing site for all of his advertising in Vancouver.
Mhm.
Or in Portland, it would be like oregonsbestroof.com. So all the advertising from that would go to that site. So people would feel, oh, this is like a local connection. They wouldn't just see like North America's best roof.
Yeah.
It, you know, if they're searching like roofs near me or something like that, seeing that URL and
Mhm.
everything like the address is that area, I think that built a lot of trust and it helped him get a lot of leads that way instead of doing the whole catch-all, we've roofed everywhere in America. It was like we do roofs in Vancouver, and here's somebody giving a testimonial from Vancouver.
Oh, interesting.
And I thought that was pretty effective, or it worked for that target market. And I was like, oh, that's really fascinating. I never would have thought of that.
So basically, it was a bunch of different websites for the same thing, but like also under like different brands, but for different locations. That's how it was.
Yeah, it was all like geographically
Mhm.
tailored. So, and the call now would be like a sales rep from that area. It's
Mm.
not like call our 1-800 number. It's like, here's our local phone number, here's our local office, and it was all kind of targeted that way.
That kind of sounds more for an established business with kind of branches and employees, more than like you wouldn't do that as a solo entrepreneur, would you, Nate?
No, because I'm kind of just lower mainland, but I could
Mhm.
see applying that and not necessarily based on the geographic location, but based on the specific services you do. So, Doran, if you're like trying to build up your live stream services, have just a website for, live streaming. This is my
Mhm.
setup. These are the live streams I've done. And then you can have that link that you can send to those clients who are interested in just live streaming.
So by that you don't mean a separate page on my website that's just that. You mean like something that they can't click off of it. It's its own live stream thing, and there's no, oh, I also do weddings. Oh, I also do this, because that's kind of my current setup.
Yeah, yeah, it would be completely separate so that
Hmm.
they're not distracted by, oh, this guy does weddings too, or oh, this guy he you're not trying to portray yourself as a jack of all
Mhm.
trades. You're trying to say,
Right.
this is my specialty. I don't know, you do doranlivestreaming.ca or whatever, but having it all
Hmm.
kind of in separate silos instead of one giant umbrella.
Sounds like a bit of time and money commitment to get all those domains and everything its own little thing.
Oh, it's $10 a year for a domain. You can still host it all under the same spot and just copy
Hmm.
paste the basics of the site, like the bones of it, so to speak. Um, so that's something I've been
I'm
researching,
not too
and
IT savvy on that stuff, so that's why I'm like, oh, it's easy, yeah. I'm
you're
intimidated by
talking about
it.
that kind of approach, Victor.
That's I don't know. I see a lot of pros and cons. I mean, just even our business, we have a bunch of websites. We even have two websites that basically offer the same experience, is just different. And basically, the point around that was to kind of target the same demographic that we want to target, the same market, is just keywords. And the way that I think about this, I mean, like, sure, it helps because you can narrow for if you have a bunch of like different websites for the same product, but like the example you gave in there for different locations, you can target that specific location. So for that, you do like all the SEO, the keywords, all the ads for that one location, and that definitely can bring a lot, like a lot of results and a lot of traffic to your website and a lot of bites doing it that way, because you'll basically be putting your sorry all your like money for marketing just targeting that one region instead of targeting multiple cities like Vancouver, Oregon, or like Portland, and then whatever Seattle and other cities. So I think maybe doing it that way has more bang for your buck and generates more. But like it's because the thing is, I mean, if you have the money to be able to afford to promote multiple sites, then do it. But to have all of your stuff in one website and basically just have multiple keywords, like if you're offering multiple services on your website, instead of having a website for each service, basically you optimize your website to rank for all of your services like keywords, and you have a bunch more keywords. I think that could help a lot too, at least in ranking wise. But I can see how having based on location could really help, and especially if you're a user in the Portland area, your website, for if it's like a Portland based company, is going to rank higher than somebody that's ranked in Vancouver, Canada, and they're offering services in Portland, right? So yeah, I can see that approach working really well. I haven't had experiences with that yet, but just from having multiple sites, and especially that are similar, I think in that way, I think it could work out well. But I think also just having one website that offers all your services, especially, well, yeah, especially if you're just looking at one area, I think it's better to do that than to have multiple websites offering the same service or different services, but targeting the same area. Um, I would just target, like you do it by page, or like if you do Google Ads campaign, you do an ad campaign for one of like a wedding, your like wedding services, and do it like that instead of having a separate website to.
So keep it that potentially could be keep it the same one website like Dorin has with multiple
Mhm.
pages, but just run different ad campaigns targeting the different
Exactly. I
segments.
mean, we do that too for our business, like experiences that we really want to push out and we really want to sell. We do that. We run an ad for that specific page, with that page being a call to action. So, um, and that way you could also see if you offer many services or experience like different pages, you can see which one performs better, which one gets more interest, and that can help the kind of seeing what you want to promote more or invest more, in the future campaigns.
Cool.
There's
One of the
also
process.
there's
Oh, sorry.
also
Go ahead, Dorin.
sorry, I just wanted to interject to say there's also overdoing it. So at
Yeah.
least with like I'm only familiar with Google Ads, but with Google Ads, if I would spam keywords to everything that's remotely related to my main, like let's say live stream, live video, live presentation, live, and just include as many variations of that, that's actually weakening my performance because all of these are kind of conflicting and only one of them's a top performer. So how like Victor has helped me set up Google Ads for the last 5 or 6 months, and I'm so glad I asked you to help me with that. And thank you so much for your help. And it's made a tremendous difference. But can you quickly go over how do you figure out what the best keyword is?
Whew. So, I mean, see, there's two different like aspects to that. There's like if you want through Google Ads, like that's paid advertising, you got to be more specific and narrow down your keyword search, especially if you have a smaller budget.
I
But if
do.
if you're doing organic, so basically this is not paid, it's just like on your website, you're optimizing you could put in more keywords because you're not paying for those keywords, right? So I think, I mean, I've read various articles on this and I've done research on this because just from optimizing the websites for the company I work for. So it said a lot of the articles say that Google frowns upon keyword stuffing. So keyword stuffing is basically you just put a bunch of keywords in there, like thousands. Some could be related, some could be unrelated. Just you like think of keywords that are popular searched on your website. But we've seen like I've done competitor research. Like the thing is we also use tools like SpyFu or Moz tool. I don't know if you've heard of these. They're like SEO tools that you pay obviously for these services, and you get kind of a into the competitors' SEO. So like on their website. And what
Oh,
we've noticed is that our competitors on their website, they have thousands of keywords on like their homepage, for example. So we've played around with the idea of having more narrow down keywords like that really work with our brand, and because at the same time it's best to match the SEO keywords with your text that you have on your page and on your website. So if you have like let's say for a company doing like a travel company and you're selling like train vacations to the Rockies, you want to have keywords that rank for those experiences. It's also on on your page, like the text. Like if you have like Rockies Rail Adventures or something like that, and you have that as a keyword, but you have that on your page because Google basically looks at the SEO keyword you have on your like optimized for your page to see if it's on your page on the text in the like the SEO title and the meta description, and also it's also for images. So if you have images on your website, you have a meta tag for that. And if you have the keyword in there too, that is another bonus. So checking all those helps. And now it's hard because if you're ranking for, I don't know, 100 keywords, chances are that you have all 100 of those keywords on your page. It's very like slim. So try to have as much keywords on your page as well, and then also rank. I mean, we've had pages that we put like hundreds of keywords. We're just testing them out and seeing how that page will rank. And it's a lot of just experimenting, like basically seeing what competitors are doing and just testing that out and seeing what works. Like, I mean, with like SEO tools, and you can get like free trials. And I for strongly recommend if you're having a website to have SEO optimization, have it some way. I don't know if you work with like a web developer or you're able to integrate that yourself, but to have SEO keywords for each of your page on your website. That's really important because that's how you will rank on Google. Without those keywords, that limits your chance of ranking high on Google. So yeah, that's kind of the importance. And like, sorry, to go back to your question with like the Google ads and what keywords you want to rank for and how you decide with that. Basically, it goes down with like research and kind of researching your competitors, see what keywords they're ranking for, and obviously seeing what your website offers, and if there's similarities with like what they're offering and obviously what you're offering, then because what it comes down to Google ads, you bid for a certain keyword, like let's say it's Vancouver videographer, for example, right? Chances are your competitors are gonna try to outbid you for that keyword. So even if you have the top bid, let's say it's like $1, chances are your competitor, if they have the budget, they're gonna keep outbidding. And it's important for like Google ads. If you have like a really small budget, just narrow your keywords and maybe have 5 ones that you really want to go all out and you want to rank high to like bid, so you're on first page for those keywords. But sorry, with Google ads, you can target kind of like the location base. So I think it helps first to do this, like to optimize your site first, like organically with SEO, and then delve into actually paid advertising through Google. And then it's kind of like I said, an experiment. You do your research, you see what keywords you think will rank really well with your website and that have ranked really well with your competitor. You do that, you use that, you see what results you get. If you don't get the results you want, for next time to like include other keywords. But for us, like usually I make like a huge list of like keywords that we should use, and I usually check like kind of like the ranking, what's done, what PPC is for that, like the pay per click, like what the value is. And yeah, it's also with like it with a lot with your budget. But I think to narrow it down, or if you have a tight budget, to narrow it down more, it's a lot, instead of like also targeting a larger area. You don't want to do that on a smaller budget. You want to target maybe a couple locations that have like really brought you in business, or
Right.
that have
So like
yeah.
for Vancouver, like specifically downtown will bring me more than Chilliwack.
Yeah, so then you think of like targeting downtown and like spending that budget, most of that budget on downtown instead of Chilliwack, right? So I think that's really important, and I think connected with SEO and just the monitor, you got to monitor daily. Like it's not enough to like. I mean, I know it's hard, especially if you're just one person and you're doing all of that and you're managing your marketing, your SEO, and whatever product you're working on. But it's important because for Google Ads, you're gonna probably there's high chances that you're gonna be in search results for something that's unrelated. It happens to the company I work for, but
Hmm.
in my Google, like when we run a Google Ads campaign, I'm in there daily looking at the search term that comes up for the day before, and I see if there's a word that's unrelated, I put in the negative keyword list, so I don't rank for that going forward, because that eats a lot of your money. Like
Yeah.
you could rank for a keyword that's really irrelevant and it costs $2, right? Or maybe more. And maybe you rank 5 times for that keyword. If you don't pick it up right away, and that it could eat your budget, and you're like a video looking for wedding, and who knows, you're looking for, I don't know, like clown videos or whatever you're ranking for, and you don't want to do that, right? So I think it's
Mm.
important to do that. And also, once you have your SEO established, and before you run a Google Ads campaign, you should also set up your Google Analytics. And that way it gives you insight to kind of how you're ranking, how your website's doing, all the traffic that's coming in through organic. You see how much it's coming through organic or other channels. Social media is in there. And that way you can see the performance also of your paid ads, how they compare to your organic search. And also, yeah, I think all of that are like elements in Google, like provides, like Google Analytics is free. It's free to use, and I think you definitely, for anybody that has a website, they should incorporate that, and it's a really handy tool to do to see like your performance. But yeah,
Mhm.
like SEO and just like keywords, it's not like a one time and I'm good. You're always got to be, because it's changing, and especially with like paid advertising, you're getting outbid, so you got to be that on there daily. Like I know Google Ads has it set up now, so you're like, they take in account how much budget you have daily, and then they put that automatically to bid for to have the highest bid. But like once your budget is done, then they're not going to go higher, so they do that automatically now. You don't have to do it manually, but
Mm.
you choose to do that manually. It's just, you got to be there, like you got to look at it like every, I don't know, hour or something like that, to make sure that you're the highest bidder. But
Sounds like it's almost like a full-time job.
it is, like I'm telling you, it definitely is a full. You could get somebody to just do that, and
A
it'll keep them
marketing
busy.
coordinator.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean,
Mhm.
that's just one part of my job. Like I do so much
See,
other stuff.
this
So
is why you're a guru, Victor, because this stuff is actually complex. I remember you when after a few months we looked at what you were just saying. What are the the searches in the search engine that triggered my ad to be clicked or to show and be clicked, and we spent like what 15 minutes with me just like saying no, 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 I can't believe it took $15 for this thing. Like how to
yeah,
learn video in Coquitlam. Like the only thing it pinged off of was video in Coquitlam. I'm like no, and I had that
You're not
person call
teaching
me. Yeah, no, I had that person's like, "Oh, you're the guy. You're gonna teach me." I'm like, "No, I'm not.
them.
No, I'm not. Go to school, spend a year,
yeah,
spend money. I'm not teaching it to you." Um,
yeah. You
yeah.
definitely don't want that. Spending the money like the wrong way on keywords. So that's why you always have to be on top of it, and it's important for like
So
any.
let me ask you this real quick. For someone that's starting out their own business and they're
Mhm.
starting kind of small, um, what would you recommend the best approach to be? So like let's say they don't have a budget to hire a SEO and marketing specialist, they want to do it on their own. What are some ways that they can do it? Because you mentioned some paid tools, but what would your like short advice for someone that's starting out and wants to do the best marketing they can do by themselves? What would you recommend?
So yeah, I definitely recommend having a website. So
Mm-hmm.
that you need the website, but once you have like your website established, for I would go for organic. Just take the time. You could take even, I don't know, maybe an hour per day, and just doing some research on your competitors. So this doesn't cost anything except for time.
Mm-hmm.
You look at competitors. A lot of like these tools that I mentioned, especially Moz tool. I know that I started before we ended up buying this tool, there was a 30-day free trial for it.
Mm-hmm.
In 30 days, you could get a lot of useful information that will set you up. At least it'll give you a good start on your SEO.
Is this the tool that you said you were telling me about? You can search, you can see how searched a specific keyword is within a geographical area. So you can look up,
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
oh, live streaming was searched 3,000 times in Vancouver in the last month. Is that the
Right.
tool?
Yeah.
What's it called?
So a Moz tool, MOZ.
MOZ tool. In
Yeah,
one word?
tool. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I
Uh,
might try that 30-day trial because I was like, how are you hacking the internet? How are you telling me like live stream was more searched than live video production and live webcast, and like all of those were like 200 searches. Live stream is the big keyword, use that one. And I was like, that gave me so much peace of mind. That's so easy. It's
yeah.
like cracking open Google and peeking inside to see how it works. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
definitely. I mean, obviously the free trial doesn't give you like all of the capabilities as a paid, but it gives you a lot. And like I think it gives you like the basics. Like you were saying, it would give you a certain keyword, how many monthly searches it comes up across, like on depending, yeah, also on location that you put. But I think it's great, and I think like even for 30 days to do a free trial, like before we were using tools, we were just kind of assessing what our website has and just building like keywords that we think would rank high. So that's like really, I guess, beginner type of to do that, like when you're just starting out. Like I guess if that's what, but I guess it's more time and it's a lot more experimenting. Like
Er, I'm trying to look up Moz tool and I can't really find it. I
uh,
find a whole bunch of sketchy stuff because I was just trying to look up what the price is. Do you remember the price? Is it a monthly subscription? Is it a one-time
yeah,
thing?
I think yeah for us yeah it's
Dorin,
I
if
think
you
it's
go on moz.com, I
yeah
think that's it.
or what was that if you just
Okay,
do
that's like the fourth one that shows up for me. I
Ooh, your
wasn't
search
sure.
history is influencing it.
Oh,
Going to a bunch of weird
oh, I see.
Russian
At the
sites.
bottom of the page, Moz Pro,
yeah Moz Pro
149 per month. Okay. Ooh,
That 30-day free trial.
yeah,
Make the
that's
most
yeah
of
I
it.
think
that's like half of my monthly Google budget. Ooh.
yeah I mean for a tool like that, like you don't need to use it like every month, especially if you
Mm-hmm.
have just one website. I think 30 days is enough. If you put the time each day into it, you could
Mm-hmm.
get out of it, in the free trial period. But
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, it definitely is important. If you want to have like a strong online presence, you got to have SEO in your website. Like you can't just make a
Mm-hmm.
website and just like leave it like that.
So kind of a follow-up question
Mhm,
to someone starting a business. Okay, so they focus on organic and populating content on their website that matches their keywords.
mhm.
Would you say Google Ads is the best place to start with advertising,
With paid advertising,
paid
yes.
advertising?
I think because with Google Ads, you can hit any demographic. It doesn't matter. Everybody's on Google, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's not like a specific demographic that uses Google, right? There's a lot, and obviously, if you're
Mm-hmm.
going for 20 plus, like the age demographic, Google is definitely it's. Yeah, I think it's the main one, and then if you want to do like dive into social media, then it you go more specific. Like for Instagram, it's a much younger population and like demographic. I mean, like a younger audience. So I think for that, if you were to cater to like the younger generation, they use Instagram more. That's how we found too. We go for like the older demographic, and we tried some Instagram ads, but
Mm-hmm.
they didn't work as well as our Facebook ads just because the demographic that we're approaching is much older, that
Mhm.
not a lot of them use Instagram.
Mhm.
But I think if you're also a business that's like selling services on Instagram, like kind of like have like that shop ability, like Instagram has that, like you could buy things on from your ad on Instagram. Definitely it works that way. But I would say for a social media, like for these videographers, Facebook would work, and then LinkedIn as well, because LinkedIn is more of a
Oh.
professional platform. So that's if you want to reach like businesses, business owners, you're gonna reach them through LinkedIn.
Mhm.
But I think if you were to pick one, just one platform, I would say Google Ads.
But you would still recommend having content on Facebook and Instagram
Oh yeah,
for
oh
organic, right?
100%.
And
Yeah, 100%.
searchability.
Even on LinkedIn, like any organic, uh, like advertising, it doesn't hurt. So Instagram, it's good to have external. This is another point related to like SEO and all that, like external linking. So having external sites, whether it's from like social media or like different websites linking to your website. So you have a Facebook account, Instagram account, LinkedIn account, Twitter, I don't know, whatever else accounts you guys have. If you have it for your company to link to your website, yeah, definitely.
Okay. So, can you tell us more about this organic advertising? Like,
Mhm.
are you, because I've seen it a few different ways, is where people kind of just post it all as if it's advertising copy, and it's just kind of like a billboard for yourself on these social media platforms. Or I've also seen people taking it more of a personal route where they share the behind the scenes, how they're creating what they're creating, sharing more personal things instead of treating it like a storefront where it's like, here's my services that I'm offering, or here's my latest finished product. Call me now. Like it's all like hard
Mhm.
sell. Um, so what do you think about those two different styles for these social media platforms?
That's a good question. I mean, I know for like our company, we've dived into all those sites. Like, especially with COVID happening, we took a step back from being like a salesy approach and being like, oh, contact us for whatever experience. So I think it's good to maybe to have a couple posts. I mean, see, it depends like what industry you're in, but like kind of in the video industry, I think it doesn't hurt maybe to have at least one post a week that's a bit more with like a call to action to be like, oh, visit my website or something, or contact me for whatever wedding video services. I think those posts work really well. At the same time, you don't want to be super aggressive with like salesy, because people are just like, oh my gosh, like this guy's like trying to always sell me something, right? So you're kind of like that door-to-door salesman, but on social media. So you don't want to have that approach too, because some people just get really fed up and they're like, oh, unfollow. Like, it's always salesy stuff. So I think to have like a blend, a good blend, and maybe have kind of also maybe just show an image or something of your work, or just Nate, because I've been following what you've been posting recently on Instagram and posting all that like Langley like photos and that type of post. Like mostly it's just like about kind of like this the artwork in the city of Langley, and it's not like really like a salesy approach. I think those type of posts are really good, and it also shows like the quality of like photos you're taking, but at the same time it like, let me put it in a way, it sells your service without like really you saying that you want to sell your service. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it just through that image, it just says like, oh, this guy like takes really good photography. Let me look. They look on your profile, they see a link to your website, they go to your website, like, oh, this guy actually does like, like photography, like wedding photography, that, you know.
So
So
like
I
a
think,
soft sell approach.
yeah, soft sell, exactly. Soft
Mhm.
sell approach works really well. And I think, like I said, you don't want to really always hard sell, but I think maybe you could do like a I mean, it depends how frequently like you post on social media a week, but if you,
Mhm.
let's say if you post once a week, then I would say maybe once a month or maybe twice or like every second week you post like a more salesy type post, and then uh, the other weeks is more like a soft sell, and then even do like a post that just it doesn't really like sell on anything, just just kind of more, or it could be something about an experience that you've had, or like something, I don't know, you've took a photo of something in the park, maybe it's like an animal or something, and maybe I don't know, it's like a funny story that happened, or how you captured that, or an experience. I think that helps too with certain clients. They're like, oh, that's kind of, it grabs them too, like just like a mini story. But yeah, I think having a good balance, that's key to having a good balance on social media with like your posts and like what you're advertising. If were to go into like the paid advertising for social media, like the like Facebook or Instagram, then I would go for obviously a salesy approach and like a call to action, like visit my website type of thing, or contact me for the services. That's the only time I would say like I would definitely do salesy approach, so for like paid ads. But if you're just like organically just posting on social, I would say like a good balance would be great.
Mm,
I have to say
cool.
the fact that you're focusing on where you're operating in Langley,
Mhm.
that really emphasizes you're the local guy there. You own Langley. You're yeah, like if people look up Langley photography, they'll see a bunch of your stuff and they'll be like, okay, this is the guy.
Mm,
Yeah, oh for sure, and obviously you're tagging, like that's important too. Tagging, like you're tagging, uh, or like City of Langley and something like that. Like basically through that tag, you're basically getting more exposure, because people that follow that certain channel or account, that post comes up, or that hashtag, or that you know. So I think hashtags are important too,
Mhm.
and then also tagging, also location, because with now Instagram is just like some people just follow certain hashtags, or they search certain hashtags and certain accounts, and if you tag them, like that's how a lot of for our social media too, we do like certain hashtags, and we tag certain like partners depending on the experience or like the destination where we posted about.
mhm. Okay. Another question I think Dorn and I had was, where does networking fit into all this? It's a buzzword. Networking, you gotta network. What
Mhm.
does that mean?
Yeah,
And what's
yeah.
the right way to do it? Maybe what's the wrong way to do it?
'Cause like in the old days, you would have like word of mouth, but
Yeah.
I feel like marketing has like word of mouth is just a small part of marketing. Marketing is such a huge beast that can, like you said, with the proper tools and proper time investment, can yield results. So what's like from a business perspective? Because I know I have my personal entrepreneur experience, but what's your business perspective? Does your business do networking?
Yeah, so like networking can be in so many different like ways. I mean,
Mm,
it could be from like trade shows to just like events, that like you meetings or like meetups with like other business owners. I think they're important, and that face to face, because you build a relationship with either other business owners that could be potential clients, and I think that's it's key. It's like kind of when you were applying for a job, you have that interview face to face, and that matters a lot more than just sending your super star-studded resume to them and then seeing like they want to meet the face behind the company. So I think networking is really good in that sense, because they get to meet the person that's there. And who knows, like I've just like through my experience in the marketing program, I've done a lot of networking events that we went with people in the industry that have worked, and I've even like met this one guy. He was head of marketing at, I think it was UBC, and like I just hung out with him a bit and just like even told him like jokes and stuff like that. And then after at the end of the night or like the next day, I messaged him. I was like, hey, like it was good to meet you, and possibly like after school ends, like if there's an opportunity, like I'd love to be in touch and like to connect. And he's like, yeah, definitely. He's like, I like your joke. I made like a joke, and that like really stood out. So I think having that and that more of a personal approach to meeting like potential clients and other business owners, I think works great because like once you do like a networking event, which kind of like to just to go back a bit, once you have like a company that's a business that's established, then I would start going to like a networking event. You have a website up, you have your logo and everything, maybe business cards. I know they're more old school, but hey, I think they're still useful, especially at a networking event. Like you're not going to be like, oh yeah, let's exchange emails. Like put my number, just give them a business card, right? But
Mm.
I think those are really key. And I think for somebody that wants to go to a networking event and see potential maybe clients there, it's definitely to obviously get their information and kind of built a good first impression there, and then follow up the next day. Just be like, hey, remember me, or type of like that. Like I'm there. I was really interested in what you're offering a business, and I see like potential of like a future business. If you need any video like services, I'd love to do a project for you. And then who knows? They're like, oh yeah, Dorin, like that guy. Like, oh, I
Good joke.
remember it was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. Like he presented himself really well. Like they got to know you a bit just through that networking event, right? And they're like, yeah, you know what? I will reach out. I got a video like that I really want to do right now to sell my lawnmower or I don't know product or whatever, and I think it's really good. Like networking, and that they taught us in marketing, like networking events. If you can go to them, do go to them because you get to meet people, and you never know when that connection there that you meet will help in the long run in in the obviously in the professional world. And it could maybe not necessarily be in the short term, but it could be in the long term and be like, hey, like you remember I went to that. It's like, oh yeah, right. So or they would reach out to you. They're like, oh yeah, I remember you were telling me that you're a videographer. I'm actually interested in recording like a video or something. So I think once you have an established business, definitely try to go to networking events, not necessarily only in your industry, because you'll probably meet other, or I guess like competition there too, which is also good, just kind of maybe to see what's going on, what's new in your industry, and always be like up to date in your industry. But at the same time, see what your target audience is like I was saying, like for that small business, if you're looking to target small businesses, check like meetups or events that small business owners attend, like kind of like that, and try to attend. I mean, I know some of them, like that the small business BC, like I attended for like a project I did at school. I think it was like $30 a ticket to get in, but definitely like I met small business owners there and kind of saw what their needs are. Like people are pretty like honest. They're not just there to like only show off their business and just like get brand awareness, but it's also like to see, hey, maybe I have like a need, and maybe you're the guy that can help with like assess that. So I definitely think networking, even in this era of like technology, I think that like face to face is really important.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah, I can speak from my experience that I think showing up in person and seeing the business owner face to face gains so much more trust than like searching online and finding it in like like you said,
Yeah,
there's no personal touch there. But if especially if you vibe with someone,
oh
you
yeah,
guys get along, you have shared experiences or something, you're both, family folk or whatever.
Mhm.
It's like, hey, we're family.
That's one talking point I've had in networking is like, oh yeah, you got kids? Oh, how far apart? Oh, the toddler phase. And it's common talking points. That's like, yeah, I'm a business owner, but I'm a person just like you.
Yeah.
Um, for me, networking was kind of overwhelming at the beginning because it's like there's so many ways to do it, and there's a lot of paid ones. Some are more expensive, some are less. Actually, these
Mhm.
things behind me are like that's BBB. That's definitely the most expensive I've been with so far, and it's like barely paid for itself in clients. But
Mhm.
it as far as clients directly coming to me, but it does offer that impression when they see the sticker on the car. I'm hoping. Um, but the problem with networking now with is that COVID really threw that away. There's no more in
Yeah.
person, and the virtual ones are just like chaos. Probably the best networking I did was actually what you kind of mentioned earlier. And it's this one over here, the BCPVA one, which is like British Columbia Professional Videographers Association. I joined those guys like 3 months in after starting my business because they were like affordable, only like $200 a year. And I
Mhm.
thought it was absolutely insane for me to go and see other videographers and talk about what, because I'm like meeting my competition, like you said.
Yeah, yeah.
But actually, there's so much demand for video on the market that when those guys get overwhelmed, they would pass on work to the next person because you meet together, you talk together,
Mhm.
you share projects together, you help each other, and it's better than trusting a
Right.
stranger off of Craigslist that might not be as good as he claims he is. So again, that personal like one-on-one, I can see you, I can see your work ethic.
Mhm.
I've also had them like work with big projects, like a big company requires 3 camera operators for a multi-camera shoot. Guess what?
Right.
Doran's not gonna man 3 cameras. I gotta subcontract 2 people. So that's been the one that's been most profitable and most helpful for me. And then there's like Chamber of Commerce, which is local, but it's like, there's already a guy established there, and I don't have any chances. Because what he does is another interesting thing. There's a free form of networking that you can do, which is sponsoring events, especially nonprofit and community events. So let's say City of Langley's doing a 1st of July, like or a Canada
Mhm.
Day festivity. You can contact them, Nate, and be like, I want to sponsor and do a video for you guys to promote this. And it'll be like a free thing, but they will plaster your logo on their material.
Mhm.
So because like, okay, there's gonna be like 2,000 people that attend this thing throughout the day, that's 2,000 potential people that will view my logo. If like 1% of them needs a video, that's like, all right, 20 people that will
Mhm.
contact you, possibly tomorrow, possibly 3 months down the road.
Hmm.
And that's what this person's doing in Chamber of Commerce for Port Coquitlam. They're just like giving everything free, and everyone knows him because of that, because he does
Mhm.
it for all the events. Um, and that is interesting. I've had a few opportunities to do that, but I didn't take them because I'm prioritizing work that's paid over free stuff right now, especially with pandemic going on. But it is something to think about. Um, and I do want to briefly mention this one called BNI,
Okay.
um, Business Network International, I think it is.
Mhm.
This thing is like cult level, next level type of networking. I, your business might be interested in something like this, Victor. Um, Basically, these guys meet very strictly, like every whatever the time was that everyone has agreed upon. But the one that I went to, and it's local by city, was Wednesdays between like 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. for breakfast, and you have to attend all of them. If you miss like more than two, not in a row, just two, you're off, and it's paid. It's
Mhm.
like a lot, almost as much as the BBB one. Um, but everyone there is unique in what they offer. So in the chambers of commerce, there's 20 realtors, 13 photographers, 5 videographers. In the BNI one, there's one photo guy, there's one video guy, there's one construction guy, there's one pianist, there's one plumber. And the arrangement there is everyone agrees to reference jobs to everyone else, including outside the group. So if you're in a BNI and you're a marketing coordinator, and I'm in the BNI too as a video guy, and Nate comes to me and says, "Oh, do you know any marketing guys?" Maybe I know 5 other ones, but I'm recommending you because you're in my BNI. Like that's how the
Mm.
system
Oh,
works.
I see.
And
Okay.
everyone, this is why I say it's a cult-like thing, because everyone remembers each other's motto or logo, you know? And they're like reciting them together, and it's so weird. But that's how tightly knit of a group they are, you know? So it was a bit freaky, but a bit cool, but such a huge time commitment because I was like, well, what if I have a $5,000 client on Wednesday? Subcontract it. Or if you have an employee, get someone to do it. But if you have it, like you have to weigh like how much does the BNI give you, right? So like
Mhm.
it's one of those things like you have to do a year to see if it pays for itself for the days that you're skipping out on work, if it's the Wednesday. But another thing that was really enforced that I didn't like was the fact that they enforced referrals and not just
Oh,
cold leads. You need to give a hot lead. So it's not like, okay, I need to recommend somebody to Victor. I'll give him Nate's phone number, but Nate's not interested. But here, I give you a cold lead. Here's a number to a guy I know. They don't want that. They want you to be like, hey, Nate, do you want marketing for your website? And if he says yes, then that's a hot lead and I give it to you. And you're supposed
okay.
to supply one each week.
Wow.
And
One quality. Whoa.
yeah, and so it's like if you have a lot of friends and family, you can maybe like cheese it, but so that's why I did not go for BNI, but I've always had this thought in the back of my head, like it makes sense why they're doing that because it's like the whole system relies
Mhm.
on complete dedication to this. It's like forcibly blocking out any other networking and focusing on the group that you have at hand. I don't know, just something I think your company might be interested in looking into. BNI, look it up. It's both in the States and in Canada. It's like an
Mhm.
international thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel like, man, like we've this is our longest podcast yet. It's like an hour and 20 minutes almost. But I think there's so much good stuff here. Like I've definitely had a lot of fun and it's been really captivating for me. Um, dude, you're a guru, okay? You're a marketing guru. We should well next time you're on the podcast, I'll put that as your title.
I have a lot of responsibility then with that title.
Yeah, man.
But also, if
Well,
there's, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say when when your entrepreneurial own business takes off, you can call yourself whatever you want.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
Marketing guru
Supreme
could be the
President Guru.
I even
supreme
see
guru.
like people on LinkedIn, they have like interesting like titles, like they're not employed or something, and they're like, oh, whatever, uh, helping businesses better optimize or growing businesses, blah blah. Yeah, like a long title, but it's like something more creative. I was like, oh wow, that's cool. But also, I mean, if there's still a bit of time, I want to touch on two more things
Let's hear 'em.
before. I mean, yeah. So one, it has a lot to do with like video. So it's video ads that I wanted to touch on, just kind of to say how important those are to like advertising. If you're advertising either on Google, Facebook, or Instagram, video ads are huge, huge. So
Huge.
like we've seen just from the campaigns that we've run, especially on Facebook, that video received a lot more engagement
Hmm.
and a lot more like clicks than just posting an image and doing an ad that way. So I think it's important to have like video ads, if you have the capability of running a video ad, you have that content, then I'd strongly recommend that you would do a like an ad campaign that revolves around a video.
I'm going
And
to
like some
assume that
pardon?
I'm going to assume the video is also more expensive than just your regular Google search ad.
Yeah, it's well at the same time, yeah, because it's like a different, but also you run the campaign based on keywords that you want to rank for that video campaign, but also like the conversions, it's based off of like the impressions and views. So
Wait a minute. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Mhm.
for example, when I'm watching a YouTube video and I didn't search for the thing, but I see the ad, that's because, Google and big tech tracks you and gives you stuff based on what they've seen you purchase or search in the past, right? So let's say does Google or sorry, does video ads work that way? Instead of Google search for a keyword, it'll instead target people that have had search for that in the past. 'Cause that's how video ads work, right?
yeah, hold on a sec. So you're talking about YouTube, like
So
there's like
like
YouTube ads. Like,
so like
are
the
you talking about
yeah.
like a video you were watching on YouTube and then the ad pops up, or
Yeah, is that video ads you're talking about?
no? That's like YouTube ads.
Well, yeah,
But
but
like no, I'm
it's
saying
owned
like
by
Like
Google, right?
Google ads, but like a video Google ad like campaign.
So where does that play?
So you would do it in Google Ads, like basically how you would set up just a normal campaign based off like keywords and like your like conversions are based like on I don't know like contacting you or something like that. The video ad, you can align that to target your video. If you like upload it on YouTube, it would track like in Google. So if somebody, obviously that ad would be shown on Google like in the top, like on the front page, but it would connect to your either your YouTube channel, or if you have the video like embedded in your website, it would go there. But it's not like the
Okay.
YouTube ad where you're watching a YouTube video and that comes in. That's like a whole different. Like you could do that too, like YouTube
Okay.
advertising.
So if like
Uh,
a corporate CEO is searching for videographer, they didn't pick one yet, but that's in their search history, and the next day they're playing Candy Crush and they want to get an extra life, so they watch an ad. Will my ad show up then based on his interests?
well, it depends because it depends what you put the target in your Google like for that campaign for the video because it's kind of it has the same elements as a regular Google Ads campaign,
Yeah.
except like let's say I don't know you're doing a wedding in Vancouver, whatever. You have that as a keyword like Vancouver wedding. When somebody searches Vancouver wedding in Google, that video will pop up in the search results. Like either it'll be on your YouTube channel if that's what you're linking it to, that's your call to action, like the video on your YouTube channel, or if the video is on your website, like embedded, then you have that link. So that the link, the preview of the video is going to be appear.
I still don't understand where, because if I go on Google right now and I search wedding videographer, videos don't pop up. So I'm asking, where do those videos pop up?
They should pop up in the search results if somebody's doing a video campaign, like in the search results.
Okay. Like
But
I
also, yeah,
see
it
two
also depends if
ads, and then I see Google Maps, and then I see the normal websites. If I
well
just
also
do a search on Google.
yeah, but at the same time, it also depends because if you're doing a display ad, that would be what I think you were telling me about. Oh, what you were asking about. If somebody's like on a different website, it would appear like on that website, like like a small.
Okay.
But yeah. But also for Facebook, like the Facebook video ads, I think those are like really good too to have on.
Oh, okay. Right. Those are video ads too that show up like on the side of a website.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
I forgot about those.
So display ads. Yeah. So I think those are good to have, and especially even like on Instagram, you probably have noticed like if you go on like a certain website off your phone, like let's say like Sport Check, maybe in like Instagram, you're scrolling through your feed and you see like a Sport Check ad on your phone. Like that's how it goes. Even with like the Google ad, like video ads, if you're on another website, you'll have it there appear like on the right if it's like a display ad that you're doing for
Mm-hmm.
like the video. But yeah, I think that is a great way to also like increase engagement, like on just like on the video, like if you're social media, but also like Chuck through is like video is so captivating, and we saw that posting a video ad brings more engage like on social media brings in more like engagement and more clicks than just like a regular image, even if it's like a fantastic image. Video has shown us that it gives us better results. So I think it's something that if you have the capability to have like a video ad, like definitely do.
Would you consider doing a video ad for your business when you start it up?
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Especially even if it's like a reel, I think those are good too,
Mm-hmm.
because it also gives a sense of what you're about, what the work you've done. If you have your branding in the video and do it like that, like kind of like make it so it relates to your brand. I think it's good like that. The having that as a promotion, it's like a real basically you have like a mini commercial type of thing, like of your business. So I think that's really good, and yeah, that's something that I would look at when I'm like establishing my website, and then when I get to the point to do like ads, I would definitely consider doing a video ad.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to look into that because I'm thinking that might be the next step for me. But I have to get like someone to do behind the scenes for me, like film me in action.
Mm.
That's
Maybe we should
hard to
Yeah.
just
do.
film each other doing projects, Dorin.
I 100% support that, Nate. We'll
All
chat.
right.
Yeah.
All right. And what was the
And
other
you
thing you wanted to
Oh,
mention,
another
Vic?
thing to touch that, because we talked a lot about like trust and like all of that with like your clients and
Hmm.
potential like clients and users. Another great way to do that, and we've like our company has delved in this, are reviews. Like Google reviews, Facebook reviews, also especially with Google reviews. If you get a lot of Google reviews and your rating's good, that really helps with your ranking on Google as well. So if your website is ranked well on Google, I mean, is reviewed well on Google, and you get a lot of reviews, it really helps with your ranking, and it establishes that trust again with like clients, potential clients, and other users. They see that,
Hmm.
wow, your website is like 5 out of 5 stars. All the reviews are like really positive, or majority of them are really positive. Like the services you provided, people give like a kind of detail of like, oh, like you helped me film this great video of like our wedding, or you helped capture our special moment. That stuff. That thing. A lot of people, and we've seen that it really goes really well, and people see like, oh yeah, like, oh okay, this guy knows what he's doing. He's given a lot of like quality. Like other
Hmm.
people have been raving about him. Like, I think it's definitely worth hitting him up and seeing if there's potential like business there.
Almost like someone else is doing a sales pitch for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it definitely helps. I mean, I always there could be like a negative side to that with like somebody leaving a negative review, and there's
Hmm.
trolls too that or competitors that just leave you a negative review. But at the same time, it could really help build that trust
I
between
have
you and.
I have one person that said amazing work and it gave me a 4 star for some reason and brought my average down from 5 to 4.8 and I'm like, why would you do that? I don't know
Like,
why
what
some
does
people.
amazing mean for you? Just-
And it's like it was amazing, but it wasn't blow my mind amazing.
I mean, we have different levels. Like
Well,
four stars
it was
amazing.
for a funeral, so maybe it's like, I don't know.
You weren't just
Yeah.
somber enough or something.
Yeah. I actually had I had a
He
client
didn't
that,
smile at me at the end.
yeah, I didn't crack enough jokes at the funeral, man. I actually had a client that has multiple businesses that they're running, including like a Brown social house.
Oh, okay.
And they said something interesting. Have you guys heard of this one? Besides getting those reviews, replying to the reviews apparently increases your organic search by a ton.
Hmm.
They didn't explain why. They just
Yeah.
said, "Oh yeah, I had 150 reviews, and my marketing guy told me start replying to him. He did, and then his like traffic grew. I don't know by how much, but
Yeah.
he said it grew a lot. I'm like, okay.
No, definitely. And also another thing is basically replying to comments on your posts, social media posts. That's key. Like if
Mm,
somebody leaves, I mean, there's all obviously it could be like a bot and just says, "Oh, nice," that type of thing. But if it's something that's a bit more like maybe it's like a sentence and stuff, do reply. Don't just like
mm-hmm,
leave it like that because the engagement helps a lot and to see like users see that you're engaged with your audience, that helps a lot because that's like, oh, okay, they actually care to respond to that person's comment or that person's review. They're really interested in that user experience or providing great service to that person. Or even if it's like somebody leaves a negative review but you're addressing that
mm,
issue or that review and you're being like, oh, like, sorry, we're please contact me and then we can work,
mm,
something out or whatever. That person sees like, oh, okay, they're willing to do that. They're willing to make amends or help.
mm,
So I think that's really important to have that
mm.
as well.
Yeah, I've seen companies do that, kind of
Mhm.
damage control, and like they acknowledge like, "Oop, it's a misunderstanding. We'll fix it for you." Hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Cool, cool. And it's probably one of those things we can just keep on going, but I think that's enough for tonight. How are you
Yeah.
guys feeling? We'll have you
Yeah.
again, Victor. We'll have you
Yeah,
again.
for sure.
We'll
I
talk about
mean,
more stuff.
marketing is so much, and if you really want to go into detail and stuff, it spends a lot of time. But
Hmm.
just kind of touching up on like the main things, and I guess what you guys are mostly interested in, I think that does it some justice. I think.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, a lot of stuff that you've said, we've like practically done for my stuff. And actually, I'll just quickly outline this. Since I started the Google Ads with you, I have not had to go out and look for work. Work has come to me. Like I'm getting phone calls, contacts through my website, text messages, and that's so much easier.
Oh yeah, I
That frees up
mean
so much time,
that's
and it also brought in my ideal budget-minded uh, um, clients. The corporate stuff, the people. Because I don't know, I've grown up with a different mentality of like, ooh, ads are stupid, they're bad, ad block. I don't want to click ads on because I'm not a consumer of whatever, right? But as a business now, it's so different. I value ads so much, and I
of
used to
course.
think who would click on an ad, and now it clicks in
Mhm.
for me. Like the fact that you put an ad is because you're a professional and you spend money to show that. So a
Yeah.
professional is going to click on an ad. Now it's just like, oh, ads work. Okay, I'm a believer
As
That's
if
good.
they're relevant to what you're looking for.
now.
Yeah, no, that's
Video,
true.
you're not going to care about,
Hmm.
uh, you know, flowers.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
but if it is what I'm interested in, I'll click it besides what I would have clicked normally for the organic stuff, and I have like a different perspective of it now.
Mhm.
And I can actually tell who's bought the ad and they're doing it because they just started their business and their website doesn't back up the ad, like it doesn't look as professional. Um, so there is that double-edged type of sword type of thing going on there. But yeah, this whole discussion has just got me more excited for ads. I can't wait to look at my analytics tomorrow. I haven't looked in 2 weeks.
Oof. Yeah, gotta get on that.
Gotta get on that,
You said daily? Oh
man.
man.
You gotta, yeah. It's like well, at least like once a week. You should
Well, yeah, I'm really
definitely look at.
small, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for joining us on this podcast, Victor.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
dude.
having me.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
Well,
I think. Sorry, Dorin, go ahead.
yeah, I think that's a wrap for today's podcast. So thank you very much for watching. Leave a comment on what topics you would like us to discuss. Um, Tell us suggestions on marketing if you have any. We'd love to hear them because it is an infinitely complex subject. Obviously, it's not as simple as I thought it was. Um, yeah, and be sure to reach out and give us your feedback.
Yeah, and also be sure to subscribe to not miss an episode of the Nate and Doran podcast featuring Victor this week. And you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever you use to listen to podcasts. This has been Nate, Doran, and Victor. Thanks for watching and listening.